Alright, so this is going to be part 2 to me basically explaining the students of Class 1A for UA Year 1. So with that being said, let's just roll the intro. Alright, so like I said in the last video, I might get some of these names wrong since a lot of them are foreign and are, of Japanese kind of origin, right? Also, if your OC is in this and I get some things wrong, that might do because you didn't give me all the information, because what I do is I screenshot the stuff that I have and I write it down. So you might have not included something in the description that you gave and I just didn't include it. So a lot of these, some of these students don't have either last names or, personalities and things like that. So, yeah. So with that being said, let's get into our first one, and that is, also this is not in any particular order, but I will save the last two strongest for last and explain their kind of backstory. So we're gonna go and start off with our first one, and that being Kyle and his quirk Mofia. So his quirk basically allows him to create and summon things that a mob boss would be able to summon, things like goons and as well as weapons. And if he defeats someone, they are temporarily become one of his summonings and things like that. So he is very manipulative, and he is very he thinks of himself as like a king and a leader. So yeah. Next, we're going to go to, I think it's pronounced Kirusho Bone, and his quirk, bone manipulation. So, it's based off a real life kind of disease, a bone defect, and the backstory for his character is that when his mother was born with the disease, and when she was basically when she was pregnant with this student, he basically got the disease as well, the defect, and this mutated to become his quirk, and he's able to control the density of his bones, and he's able to create things like spikes out of his skin and things like that. So there are drawbacks to this. If he uses too much of his quirk, then he becomes calcium deficient, and he has to drink a lot of milk and eat a lot of dairy products and things like that to recover. So yeah, it is a very strong quirk, but there is a lot of downsides to it. So next we get to Nova C, and he is a little bit different from the other students because he is actually 12 years old, and the reason why he's so much younger than everyone else is due to the fact that he has a quirk with a lot of potential, and as well, his father is actually a pro hero and a pretty well known, since his father is the number 17th hero, if I remember right, and his quirk is actually freeze time. So he's able to freeze time for around 5 to 3 seconds, and if he touches someone within that 3 or 5 seconds, then time resumes. So yeah, because of these kind of factors, he was scouted by UA earlier than he should have normally. So we get to another student, and that being Eric, and his quirk, intangible touch. Basically, he's able to make, whenever he touches something, he's able to make it intangible. This includes himself, but not really other people. So his personality is, he's kind of like a ladies' man and things like that. So we get to the next student, and that's actually going to be Tim. I didn't get a last name, and his quirk is called object teleportation. He's able to teleport objects within a 35-meter radius, and if he goes beyond that, he gets a lot of headaches basically. So we get to the next student, and that's actually going to be Samuel, and his quirk, sticky substance. He's able to spew out a sticky substance, obviously, and he's able to control the density of that substance by making it a more liquidy or more solid and things like that. So we get to the kind of higher tiers, right? So we're going, oh wait, yeah, no, not yet. So we got Yamoei Naboriyuki, I think that's how you pronounce it, and his quirk, Beast Prowl. He's able to transform certain parts of his body into other animal parts. So it's kind of like Beast Boys, but it's only certain features of that animal, and he's able to mix and match. So this can also mean extinct animals. So yeah. So next we get to the top two, and that's actually going to be Sezuki Shino, and she's actually triplets with both the number one student that I haven't mentioned yet, and also the Maria from the last episode, or the last part, the person with storyteller as the quirk. So I'll explain her backstory, and this backstory actually covers both Demaria and both the number one student. Now we're gonna go over, which is, his name is Rogue. So Suzuki's quirk is plant manipulation, and she's able to both grow plants out of her and also mutate the plants around her, like making a Venus flytrap giant and able to bite down on villains. So she's actually the number 2 student in Class 1A in terms of strength. So she would be the vice representative. And yeah, so her backstory is, when she was younger, she was triplets with both Rogue and Demaria. And basically they were normal at first, but then as their quirks manifested, they looked obviously different, right? So at the age of 5, their father basically, because they lived in the country, right, where quirks were less accepted, he actually drove them on a trip, right? And this trip was to the city, and he basically abandoned them there. And because of this, she is very not trusting to others, and she's very cold to others. So they had to defend themselves at that young age, being stranded alone. So because of that, that's the reason why they grew their certain personalities. Like Demaria, he had a very kind of honest yet kind of rude personality, where she is very shy and doesn't really talk to people, and she only really talks to her brother Rogue and her other brother Demaria. And she has this kind of really close relationship with Rogue. The way that I've seen it been explained, it's kind of like Sora and Shiro from No Game No Life. They're kind of that close from what I've seen. So yeah. And obviously I'll put the stats up for people and to see why they're like number 1. So we get to the number 1 student, and his name is actually Rogue Shino, and his quirk, Medusa. Just like the name implies, he has the powers similar to that of the mythological character Medusa. So he has snakes coming out of his head instead of hair, and as well he's able to turn people to stone. He's able to reverse this process though, and he's very agile and fast. So he's also able to create a thin layer of stone around him to kind of use as protection. And he's also able to hypnotize people if given the chance one of the snakes bite him. So he does have some limits to his quirk. If he overuses them, then his quirk becomes less controllable and his snakes actually take control, as well as them basically turning on the user and biting him. He is the number 1 student currently and the representative for Class 1A, due to the fact that he has such a very good quirk. As for personality, he is very shy and does not like to be in the spotlight. He's very close to both his sister and brother, and he's also, like I said before, they're all triplets, right? He's very not trusting of others and things of that nature. And you just heard me explain his backstory and why he is how he is now. I almost forgot to mention another student. I almost forgot him. He's actually, I believe he's the number 4 student in class 1A, and that being Rajin Fuma, and his quirk Thunder Avatar. So he is actually, his father is actually one of the top 5 heroes, part of the Fabled 5, and I'll talk more about that when it's either in the story or if you guys want an explain video on the top 10 heroes. So his quirk is similar to his father's, but not really too much. The only thing that they have in common is that they could both manipulate like electricity. So his quirk, basically, it's a emitter / transformation quirk, and when he's in this kind of thunder avatar state, he has 10 minutes, and he has very high reflexes, and he's able to react to around 5 to 10 things within that within like a 8 to 5 yard radius around him. So he's also able to react to things around half the speed of lightning, but if he pushes himself, he can react to things that are at the speed of lightning. But if he does so, it reduces it takes off like around 5 seconds of his quirk, or his time limit that he already has, which is around 10 minutes. So if he does do that, it reduces it by 5 seconds. So he also, in this state, he's also able to have higher higher senses equivalent to that of a snake within, like I said before, the radius, which is 8 to 5 meters, or not meters, yards. So yeah. So he's also able to manipulate and shape electricity. So yeah, and his father is one of the number 10 heroes, or he's in the top 5. So yeah, I believe he is number 5. So if you guys want to know more information about the top 10 heroes, then you guys can ask me that in the comments section. So yeah, this is gonna be the end of the video. If you haven't seen UA Year 1, then go and watch it. If you want other explained videos, just tell me that in the comment, and I'll also have the top 10, I'll have the list of the top 10 students in class 1A in the description. So if you don't agree with that list, you can make your own list in the comment section down below. So with that being said, this is going to be the video, so yeah.